Hey, welcome back to the Greg McAfee Show, where we discuss steps to successful entrepreneurialism, how to take your business to new heights, and ultimately follow your dreams.
Today, we are very excited to have Jenna Harris with us once again. This is part 2 of our business coaching podcast. Check out our first part of the interview to follow where we left off in episode 1.
Hey, this is Greg McAfee, and welcome to the Greg McAfee Show. Now let's get started. So, Jenna takes phone calls from companies that are hurting, and the company calls and says, we're just not making any money. We need fixed. I love it when they say that because they actually realize they need fixed. So I need fixed. I'm struggling. What's the first thing you do?
First thing I do is, I ask them what they think is broken. And because I just want to know, I want to know where they're coming from. Like, what have you tried so far? And then once, if we start working together, the very, very, very first thing I do with every client is I do a deep dive diagnostic in their finances and their operations. So that's something that's kind of unique. Not a lot of other organizations do this where they send me over all of their documents, P&Ls, job costing reports, labor utilization, payroll, everything. And my team will go in and do a very deep dive to figure out exactly what's broken. Where's the profit leaking? How much is it leaking? We can quantify. We can actually tell them you lost X amount of dollars last month because of this one problem. And then we build a plan to fix it. I love data. I love systems. And so I want to be held accountable for my clients just as much as I want them to hold their employees accountable when we're putting systems in place. So we measure everything. We measure, is this working? Is this not? Are you getting your money's worth from the investment in a coach? Right? I mean, because that's really what it's about is sometimes it is just the non-quantifiable or tangible things, but for the most part, like these business owners, they are hurting, they are struggling, they're busy, they're making money, revenue, but they have no money at the end of the month. They're stressing payroll, they're not taking a salary, they have a truck that's about to get repoed. I mean, all of these things. And so, like, we got to get down to brass tacks and figure out exactly what's going on. Not what I think is going on, not what they feel is happening, what's actually happening. What is the data telling us? So we start with a really clear picture every single time.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's and those, again, the ones that are telling you that are probably in the 1 to 5% because they're admitting they have a problem. And that's the first step to any 10 or 12 step process, whatever it is, to admit I have a problem. You can't get help if you don't
Right.
admit it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as um, profits go, we talk a lot about profits. I mean, you can't be in business if you don't make a profit.
Yep.
And they actually say today that a lot of people rate, they'll say 50% of businesses fail the first year, but if you do the 10-year thing, it's like 93% fail in 10 years. So only 7% make it out of 100 in 10 years. So those are the ones that are actually, they learned how to make a profit from the get-go. Number one, there's much more to it than that, but a good, strong profit is a good, strong profit, and it will help you carry through a lot of your other weaknesses in the company. If you're making money, that always helps. So why do you think many owners work so hard but still don't make a profit? I mean, if you had to list like 1 or 2 key things that is the reason, what do you think?
Because a few things that I see all the time is that they're not priced correctly.
Mhm.
And they're buying some price list off the internet and using it, and they're not tracking their actual data. I think another big thing that is very common is labor. Labor is your biggest expense when you're in one of these businesses. And um, skilled labor is not cheap. And every minute, every hour that you're paying somebody and not essentially having them produce, that's a huge area. So there's just no like real management of their team, of their staff. And then the other is just really bad logistics and inefficiency. So that could be everything from mid-job supply runs that really had no business happening to the dispatch board is not optimized because you have a skills mismatch. Like you're sending somebody who doesn't do, I don't know, condensers on a job that, might need that or what have you. So every customer service representative and dispatcher has a role to play in that too. There's so many areas that it can leak out, but essentially it's labor inefficiencies, pricing, and then just those kind of like really bad scheduling and logistics things that I see a lot.
Yeah, there. When you say labor, I don't know about you, but most of the time I find when someone first hires me, I notice they have too many people. It's never not enough. It's always too many.
Mhm.
So they're doing 3 million and they have, 30 people. And I'm just like, what are these people doing? Because your number, if you divide 30 into 3 million, what is that? Like 100,000 per person?
Yeah.
And you
Mhm.
need to be, this is just Greg's rule, but we try to be as close to 300,000 per
Yep.
person.
Yep.
So that's just a quick KPI that has always helped me. And that's the first thing I do in the first 10 minutes of consulting with someone is find out what that number is. Because I
Yep.
can just about tell you that either their prices are way too low or they have way too many people.
Hmm.
Um, those are the two key things.
Yep.
And then they have to get rid of some people. And then we have to narrow down who do they get rid of. So they've been carrying them too long. These people are not busy. They're just there for a paycheck sometimes. But you just have to be aware your business it's a heartbeat, and you can stop that heartbeat really fast by um, decreasing the size of the flow by having too many people, because it definitely decreases your cash flow. Trying to compare it to a heart. Being, when you're in when you're getting healthy and stuff like that, you really track things on your body about what kind of heart rate, what kind of blood pressure, all those things. A business is the same way. You've got to check the blood pressure. You've got to check the heart rate. You've got to check the flow. You've got to check things that matter, that's going to keep you alive and keep you healthy in a business. Actually, I need to write that down because that'd be a good podcast on its own.
That is a good
Uh,
one.
So these guys are working really hard. And that's the thing. I feel sorry for them a lot of times because those guys, they're working. When I said, why do so many workers work so hard and they don't make good money? Those are the guys that are killing themselves. They're really working hard. They really think that hard work will produce profits when all they have to do, I make it sound simple, but all they have to do is hire a good coach who understands small business, and the coach is not on payroll. You keep them as long as you need them, and you use them for what they know. And it'll change your whole world in business.
And you say, I mean, it is simple. Simple is not easy though, right? I mean, I think that's part of it too. Like you mentioned the egos earlier. Getting over your ego is not easy. Anybody who goes into business, they have an ego. Why else would you, right? It's like you believe you can do it better than somebody else.
Right.
So, I mean, that inherently is egotistical. So you have to have an ego and self-confidence to start a business, but you need to check your ego in order to succeed in business, which is kind of this catch-22. And so it is simple to get the right guidance, to hire a coach, to look at somebody from the outside to look at your business and fill your gaps, your leadership gaps, right? But simple is not easy. And the transformation that comes from actually hiring a good coach is really a lot of work because a lot of it is, I know you talk a lot about mindset and being in control of yourself, your own optimizing your mindset and your health and all of these things. And that's critically important as a business owner because doing the thing is the easy part, right? Like going out into the field, sweating in a 110-degree attic, that's the easy part, really, for a
Yeah.
lot of these owners. For somebody
Sure.
like me, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do that.
Well, they're
But
comfortable there too. They
they
like
are
that.
comfortable there. They do. It's familiar. They're good at it. But looking somebody in the eye and saying like, okay, what's really preventing you from firing this person who is, making your business go on the brink of failure? That's a tough question that people don't want to, because either it's something that is personal about that person, or they don't want to admit that they're scared to fire somebody, or, whatever that looks like. So that's a really hard conversation for a lot of these guys who are blue collar, grit. Um, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just hard.
Yeah. I, I, I get it. I mean, sometimes I don't know why it's hard because I guess I told my son this to Travis is his name, and he's 1 year away from getting his PhD. He worked in our company from 5 years old all the way up and then into college, in and out, doing odd and end stuff, but he did just about everything. But his calling wasn't to take over the business. And he told me that in seventh grade, which was fine. Um, but I told him today, I said, sometimes when you're so smart, you overthink everything. And I said, I wasn't talking to him, but I was talking to him. I just wasn't that smart. I just seen something that I wanted and I went after it and I didn't really think it through all the way. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't, but most of the times it did because of my tenacity and just making it work. But I wasn't afraid. I guess one of the questions I had on here for you was something about um, what mindset shift do owners have when they really like have a breakthrough and they go, "Oh, wish I'd have done this, 5 years ago." Um, First, I'll ask you what you think that is, and then I'll continue with my conversation here and tell you what I think it is.
Yeah, that's that's a tough one because I think for a lot of people, well, for my clients, and it takes a while to get here with them, I see a huge mindset shift from being the doer to being the leader. And that sounds very vague, but truly it's kind of what I mentioned earlier of, you can be an owner, and you're solving problems, but if you can step back, trust people to make decisions without you, to, let go of the reins and let go of some control, that's a huge mindset shift. And candidly, like there are some days where I struggle with that mindset shift still. It's a never-ending process. So I would say going from being the doer to being the leader, and like the core piece of that is trust. Trusting yourself that you hired the right people and trained them well, and then trusting the people that they will actually come through for you. That's a huge mindset shift, and that really helps people like kind of break past whatever hump they're trying to get over.
So basically, what you're saying is if they would learn to drop their ego and trust other people to do the job, they'd probably be
Mm-hmm.
further ahead.
100%. That idea that nobody can do it as well as me, that kills businesses.
It does.
Like hands down.
Yeah, it keeps you poor
Yes. I
because,
love that. That's such a good way to put it. Which is funny because people who are egotistical, like they hate the idea of being poor.
yeah,
And their ego is the one thing that is preventing them from growing.
yeah. The thing that held me back was sales. I thought I was the best salesperson in the world and I owned the company. So I had to be better, right? Because it was me going into the home. Greg McAfee, I'm the owner.
Hmm.
And I did
Hmm.
good. I really did good, but I did it way too long. When I actually got coached and someone said, you need to hire a really good salesman. And the way you're going to do this is there's a testing facility who tests people, and they'll test you, and then they'll test the applicant, and it'll show what you have in common and where your strengths are and all that. So I hired a few salespeople and they didn't work out, and so I kept doing it. And then when I got that advice, I followed through with it and invested in these testing, and it wasn't cheap. And I hired my first true salesperson. And based on that test, every other salesperson we hired after that took the same test. And then we could show the whole team, we could show their strengths and weaknesses, and what they're good at as far as sales go, all that kind of stuff. That's the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
I mean, I told our salesperson, I said, if you can outsell me this year I was like 6 months. If you can outsell me what I sold last year, you get my truck. And it was a GMC Denali truck. And he killed it in 4 months. He had outsold me. So I gave him my truck and I got a new one. So
there you go.
But
That's a win-win though. But
yeah,
that's what we're talking about like that leadership culture is let me show you how you can win and be successful in my business. And I will reward you for that.
absolutely. And I can tell my viewers and listeners, I wish I would have done that 5 or 10 years before that, because I would have been so further ahead.
You also would have gotten a new truck every like 6 months, which is, I mean, who doesn't want that?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, every new salesperson we hired, Greg got a new truck. And they got a nice truck because my trucks were nice. But anyway,
Yeah.
you know, there was a lot of stress running a business and running sales calls. And I could have freed myself up to do what I did better than just sales. And I wish I would have done it earlier. I'm not losing any sleep over it or anything like that, but that's a lesson for guys that are in business, 5 years and they still haven't like come off the sales thing. Come off the sales thing. I mean, come off the service thing. Come off the install thing. Get people in there that do it better than you. And if you think you're the best, then you got the wrong attitude to be the leader.
Yep.
Because that's an ego, and that's what's holding you back. And ego will keep you poor.
Absolutely.
So how about if I call Jenna and I say, Jenna, I have run this business I started it, 4 years ago. I am running it. I'm not making enough money, and I am working too many hours. I'm completely fried. What do you tell me? I mean, what's some advice for me?
Well, this is my favorite question to ask people, and they can never answer it. How are you spending your time now? Because a lot of these owners who are in that exact position, which most of them are like that when they're coming to me, they don't know how they're spending their time. They're just taking it as it comes. They're not being intentional about any part of their day. And so that's kind of the surface level, but all the things we've been talking about here, the ego, the control, all of those things, that's what's causing it. But the very easiest question is, how are you actually spending your time? Because they don't know. They literally don't know. They're like, what day is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
I get calls and texts all day. I'm running from this place to this place, and they're just like wave after wave after wave, and they're not leading themselves, let alone their business. And so that's kind of like a good tell-all. If you can't tell me how you're spending your time exactly right now, I mean, that's why you're struggling. One of the reasons that you're struggling.
Yeah, they're not an entrepreneur. They're or a leader. They're a firefighter.
Correct.
That's it.
Correct.
They're putting
And
out fires.
those two things are profit and that kind of self-leadership with your time management. Those two things go hand in hand every single time. Every time.
Yeah. You want to avoid burnout, let go. Just let go. And you say, what does that mean? And what if I let go and we fail? You're more likely to fail hanging on than letting go. Because hanging on is continuing to do what you've done, and it's not going to get you any further than where you're at. But letting go means trusting other people, taking the time. So you don't have, most people don't have any time right now. When I say take the time to hire someone, that is not easy. And that takes, and you might have to hire someone to help you do it, but that takes time. It's not, boy, this is a whole nother class, but interviewing people is it becomes, it's a specialty. It's,
Mhm.
the most successful companies invest in interviewing more than just a one or a 5-man, 10-man shop. They bring someone in, and they can fog a mirror and they have a little bit of experience and they put them in a truck and then they say
Mhm.
go. And they wonder why things aren't working out. And
Yep.
they didn't get to know them at all. Um, we just take a lot of time, or we did. In my company, we took a lot more time. Even if someone came in, and this was rare, when someone came in with 10 years experience, they didn't get put in a truck first day either. We might give them a truck
Mhm.
to drive home, but they were driving back and forth to our office for training to learn our way, our culture, our customer culture, because we had a customer culture too. Our customers were special. They, and it's kind of funny when I say that, but our customers got used to us. They knew our way. They liked our way. They liked me personally, what I stood for in our community. And that
Yep.
was strong. But it's just much more than being in business for yourself, isn't it?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And something that I was thinking about as you were kind of walking through that is the people, I think a lot of owners that are in that kind of busy but broke hamster wheel, they don't want to invest the time in hiring the right person because, well, they're just going to leave. Well, they're just going to leave. Why should I invest all this time in this person? I'm just going to leave. It's like, well, did you ever step back and think about why they're leaving? Like, you're obviously either A, not providing the right culture and environment, B, not providing the right opportunities for them. Those two are often one and the same, and often very directly connected to you not wanting to take the time to invest in your people because you think they're just going to leave.
Yeah.
So, I think that that's something that that a lot of business owners really struggle with is, well, why should I invest the time because they're just going to leave?
Mm.
Or why should I fix this process because it's not going to work out? Like you cannot survive in business if you have this like doom and gloom outlook on the world.
Well, that goes back to mindset.
Hmm.
I just don't think you should start a business if you don't think it's going to work or if you have a bad attitude about it. I mean, why start a business? Just go work for someone else. You can make a lot more money
Hmm.
and have a lot less
Hmm.
headache and a lot less responsibility and a lot less liability.
Yep.
And but for some reason, and I don't, um, everybody has an opportunity in America to start their own business, but it is not for everybody. If it
Mm-mm.
was, 93% wouldn't fail after 10 years. It's
Yep.
hard. There's nothing easy about it. And if anybody thinks it would be easy sitting in another chair looking at it, they have no idea. They just have no
Right.
idea. And the liability and the responsibility itself alone will take people under because it's all you can do sometimes. Nobody has any idea what
Absolutely.
happens in a day sometimes.
Right.
A truck
Right.
accident, someone getting hurt, someone falling off a roof, someone stepping on a nail, someone huffing keyboard cleaner and wrecking a truck. And I mean, that's all happened to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm laughing because it's like I don't know a single business owner who hasn't been at least in a couple of those situations.
Mhm.
I mean, it just is what it is, People, you're dealing with humans. Business would be so easy if you didn't have to deal with other humans.
Well, I often say my business was perfect until I hired the first person.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, that's so true.
So I
So
thought it
true.
was. So I thought it.
Hmm.
So, a few more questions and we'll wrap it up here. But you think a business can outgrow the mindset of its owner?
Business can outgrow the mindset of its owner.
Meaning,
No. No, because you are your limitation.
mm,
I mean, And I love the mindset conversations because, and that's kind of what we spoke about earlier about how the culture of the home service industry is changing, right? Like you can't just yell at your employees on a job site anymore. And I'm so glad that the focus of mindset is really becoming so heavy because life is way hard. I mean, life is really hard right now, and we have no idea what everyone's dealing with at home. And so, like being in control of your own mindset is incredibly important. And even my daughter's in school, like I have a first and a third grader, and they're teaching mindset and the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset in school. And I think it is so important. And so, you know, as an owner, as a leader, you are your business's ceiling, frankly, is kind of how I look at it.
Well, that's a
And
good way to put it.
you are.
You're gonna hit the ceiling. Go ahead.
No, I mean that's really I guess all I was going to say is that you are your business's ceiling and whatever your capacity is, whether that be capacity for actually doing the work, capacity for understanding, capacity for empathy, capacity for optimism, whatever that capacity is that we're talking about, it is absolutely the limitation of your business and it can't grow past it. It might seem like it is, but it's all going to fall apart very quickly.
And that's why, as an owner, you have to continue to learn. It's continuing to learn and grow. You can't just stay the same. You can't. If you do, you're going to get the same results you've had, and nothing's changing. People say
Mhm.
I'm not growing. Well, what are you doing to grow?
Yep. Yeah. You're not growing. Yeah, you're right. You're not growing. Absolutely.
If you
When was the
don't
last
grow,
time you
your
took a
business can't
pause?
grow.
Absolutely.
And you have to
Mhm.
continue to be in continuing education, classes, videos, seminars, good seminars. There's a lot of seminar. I talk about this a lot. There's a lot of seminars out there that will overcharge and it's a big party for the weekend. Now, if that's what you want to
Yeah.
do, that's fine, but don't depend on your business to grow from that because it's not
Hmm.
going to. Um,
Yep.
and it is you've got to pick the right classes, the right books, but you get that again, you get that from hiring a coach, forming a board of advisors, um, surrounding yourself with good mentors. I had some great mentors. Mark Swepston from Atlas Butler Heating in Columbus took me under his wing when I was only a 2 or 3 year old company, and we've met every year since then. I mean, he just took me under his wing, and I learned a lot from him. And you got to reach out and help people. That's something today I think's changed a little bit. When I first came in the industry in the '90s, I mean, I was part of an association here in Dayton. We competitors we would meet, and I was president of it for a few years, but we would meet as an association in Dayton and we would talk about codes. We would talk about, customer service. We would talk about everything to raise the bar in the industry. Today, you can't even get a competitor to wave to you at a stop sign. So it's a little bit different world.
Oh, oh yeah. No, I I'm not going to put one of my competitors on blast here, but I had a very interesting run-in with a competitor. They were slandering us online. Um, and I literally called him and I said, I live in your community. I'm going to see you. And I'm not a keyboard warrior. So I will come up to you and I will say hello and I will wish you the best in your business. So you might want to change the way you're engaging with us because at the end of the day, you're absolutely right. Like you have to be rising tides lift all boats, right? And so how can you possibly want your competitor to fail or want your competitor to soil the industry with the way they're acting,
I know.
right? And you're right. People don't talk anymore. People don't. And I say that anymore. Like, I mean, I grew up with the internet, right? I'm almost 40, so I grew up with the internet, but still, like, people don't have social skills. They don't know how to disagree politely. They don't know how to have hard conversations and then how to overcome those conversations and see the value in them after the fact, other than just stomping off and having a tantrum. Again, that capacity, right? Like that, if that's your ceiling, that will be your business's ceiling.
Absolutely. And that's their business mindset is to attack.
Hmm.
I mean, I said this for years. I wish, and we're nobody special. We're just a small heating and air conditioning company in Dayton, Ohio that happened to be number one for the last 10 years I owned it. But we didn't have any competition. Our
Mm-hmm.
competition only knew how to pick us apart to the customer about how high priced we were.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I mean, can you not come up with anything else that lifts you up? Maybe you could be better than us at something instead of degrading us for a price. And it didn't work. That's the thing. It never worked. We'd still get
Yep.
the job. It,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you go out of your way to hurt someone and it backfires. We always, if someone asks us in a home, what do you think about so and so, heating and air? Um, we would either say we haven't heard much about them, or it's probably not a whole lot I could say. I mean, that's just I just
Right.
rather not say
Right.
anything. But
Right.
we never, or if it was really bad and they had a 1 point Google review or something total, I would just say you might want to avoid them. That's all. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is what it is. But people, when I sold McAfee, I mean, we were like attacked after I sold. I told my wife, I can't believe this. I mean, people were like attacking us for selling, and they were like trying to advertise that they were family owned and all this stuff they should have been doing all along. I mean, it was,
Right.
um,
Right.
they didn't know what, they just didn't know what to do. But anyway, and there's a lot of companies out there that they don't have a plan. They don't have systems. When you have systems in place, it also includes advertising, branding, and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
It also includes your integrity. Systems are
Mm-hmm.
part of your integrity. This is what we're going to do, and this is what we're not going to do. And that's something else. When you hire new people, talking to our viewers out there, when you hire new people, they need to know what you allow and what you don't allow.
Yep.
Um, I mean, if it's no foul language in a home or even in the shop, that's your policy. If
Yep.
it's wearing shoe protectors in a home, that's your policy. If it's no smoking in a truck, that's your policy.
Yep.
You gotta stand for something, or what? You'll fall for anything.
Yep.
But people, and honestly, employees that work for companies that have guidelines, and I'll say rules, they tend to like that. They know where they stand.
Yeah. Well, I think the reason they like it too is because they know that their coworkers will be held accountable. Like they know they have a lot of certainty in the environment they're showing up to every day. I mean, going back to my example of that guy who was like heckling one of our younger team for being scared to go on a, third floor ladder on his, first couple weeks. Like, I mean, that had we let him stay, that employee's view of our company would have been completely different. It would have been forever changed from that moment on. And he would have not enjoyed coming to work. And so structure, it helps employees because they understand what they're walking into every day and they know that their owner is going to, or their leader is going to hold other people accountable. They're going to walk the line. And that structure, you need certainty. As humans, we rely on certainty. Like we have to have certainty to some degree in our day, just like traffic laws, right? We have to believe that that car isn't going to turn left in front of us when our light is green. It's the same thing at work. Like you have to believe that your standards will be followed.
Mm, that's good. And it's kind of like a guardrail. You have to know
Yeah.
how far you can go.
Mhm.
Um, Quick story: company was run by one person. Company changed hands. Company was run pretty tight ship. Company changed hands. Person thought it was run too tight, so they slacked off. Grew, hired, but the new people only knew the slacked off method or way. Other employees kind of didn't like it at first, but they got used to the slacked off. Sales started to plummet. And the owner basically said, well, I guess we can tighten the reins. I said, no, you can't.
Hmm.
You've already let everything out. You can't close that gate again. You can't tighten the reins. It would take, it would take getting rid of your entire team and bringing in a new team. That's how hard it is.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. Not having guidelines, not having systems, not having guardrails, not having, rules, and guidelines, it's for the benefit of your team and for your company. And it keeps people aligned and they will stick longer with you because they like that. They like knowing where they stand, what they can do, what they can't do. And for the most part, now someone's going to buck the system, so be it. Then you have to get rid of
But
them.
again, that's part of your culture though. If
Yeah.
you allow them to buck the system and you allow them to stay, that's your culture,
Yep.
right? You
Yeah.
don't have a culture at that point. So again, it always falls on you. It always falls on the owner. You set the line and you hold it. I
Boom.
like to think of it as raising kids. Like I'm in this elementary age, parenthood, and being a parent is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I would rather start and grow a business than like really do brush my kid's hair or whatever. But it's the same. It's like structure, if we just kind of let all things go willy-nilly, if you don't have to do homework tonight, they're gonna never want to do their homework again. It's the same with employees, right? Like you have to be consistent because I mean, they're probably dealing with crazy children at home too that are making their lives inconsistent at home, so they rely on that consistency at work so they can succeed.
I literally had someone, that's great. I literally had an employee tell me, she said, I come to work for structure and peace.
Hmm.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
I come to work for structure and peace. So it
Yes.
wasn't too good at home. So she came there for structure and peace.
Hmm.
And she was there 12 years.
Yeah.
Um, okay, that is really good stuff.
You
Again,
never told me what you told your son.
oh yeah, I'm not good at that. I always start a story and then forget about it. So thank you. But I told my son that, it's about being so smart that you can't um take a risk because you think
Hmm.
things through too far. And risk taking sometimes is, I think it was Jeff Bezos who said, I only need 70% of information to make a decision. The last 30% is, I don't
Yeah.
need it because
I'll
by the
figure
time,
it out.
yeah,
Hmm.
70% is all I need. Um, that's probably a good number. I don't know. I mean, he seemed to do well. Uh,
Just a little bit.
yeah. So, it could be 80 for someone. It could be 50. I mean, if you get 50% of good information, some people will say, I'll buy the stock or I'll start that business or I'll
Hmm.
buy into this business. That's all I need to know. But for some people who need all details, they get 100% and then they go, well, the odds are not as good as I thought.
Yeah.
So I just told him, you have to be careful about how much you process um, of it. And everybody's got a different personality. My son and I are a lot alike, but we're also different. And he does, I mean, I didn't go to college at all. He's been in college for, well, he's 31.
Long time if he's
He's
doing a
31.
PhD.
So he's
Hmm.
been in college about 13 years and he'll probably go 14 before he's done. So, you know, it is what it is. But what I'm saying is, as a business owner, sometimes you have, I said something. I said something the other day. Clay Mathile sold Iams Pet Food for, it's right here in Dayton, Ohio, for 2.3 billion. And his one of his slogans was, "Don't make a decision until you have to." But then I've heard from other successful people. I mean, Henry Ford used to say, I thought about it so much that when I made a decision, it was fast because I'd already thought about it. And everybody makes, now some people, you can make a too fast of a decision. I did before. I mean, I bought a home improvement company by making too fast of a decision, and it was a complete mess. Different culture than my company. Everything was different about it. It didn't work. I tried to get it going for 2 years, and I didn't even sell it. I put it to sleep and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And that was
Hmm.
too quick of a decision. Lesson learned, right? But then you can also delay. There's a fine balance, is all I'm saying. That's what I was trying to teach him.
Well, I think it's about managing risk. It's like air traffic controllers, right? Like if everybody if we wanted no risk at all, we would never allow people to fly. But we see the benefit of it. And so we manage the risk by having positions like air traffic controllers. You have to be your own like air traffic controller in a business because if you take no risks, you will never grow. That's why we have so many chuck in a truck, one man operators who are just surviving, right? And if you take reckless risks because you don't have a good advisor in your business or your life, you don't have a coach who's helping you, talk through these things and analyze the risk and how to manage it, then you're gonna really be in a world of hurt too. So going back to that advisory board and the circle that you're with and all these people, you have to have people that you trust who are educated, who know more or different things than you to help you manage risk in your life and your business.
Mm. Yeah, I had a coach. He was a number one realtor in Ohio at the time, and that was intriguing to me because I was probably 10 years in business, maybe 12. And I hired him. He was very expensive at the time, very expensive. And I was dragging my feet on hiring people. And he said, "How many people do you need to hire?" And at the time, we were hiring like two salespeople for this. We had air duct cleaning going on. We had this other thing going on, sheet metal shop. We were trying to get that really going for more than just our own company and all this stuff. So I said, I
Mhm.
need to hire three people. And he said, what, how soon do you need them? I mean, I was thinking, within 90 days. And he said, well, here's the deal. How much can you afford to lose? I'm like, what? And he goes, $20,000. I go, that's too much. And so we got it down to 10 grand. He goes, okay, $10,000. You're going to hire these people within 60 days. If you don't, you have to send that money to someone you don't want to have it. If you do, you and your wife go out and buy something for 10 grand. I
Mhm.
said, deal. But he held me accountable. And on like the 58th day, I hired all three. We were done. I got to keep the money.
Yeah.
But I've tried to do that with a couple people. I've only been able to do it with one. Nobody really wants to step out and take that risk that I was willing to take. It comes back down to the 1%. The 1 percentile are like, I have nothing to lose here. If I don't, at least I've probably hired two, right? And I
Yep.
probably wouldn't have hired the two. So 10 grand was probably worth it to me. And that's how you have to think. If you just think 10,000 is a lot of money, I don't want to do this. Well, then don't expect to grow in your company and be, in the top 10 in your area. You're just going to continue to, you know, trickle along and barely make a living owning your own business. So
Absolutely.
sometimes
Absolutely.
sometimes that's why you need a coach. Coaches challenge you if they're good coaches. They challenge you to do more. And not everybody likes to be challenged. I've learned that.
Most people don't. Going back to the ego and the mindset and the trust in yourself to solve. I mean, it's all connected.
Yeah, and some owners, like I said, like you said, sabotage their own growth.
Mhm.
And so let's wrap up here with one last question.
Yeah,
So Jenna, why do you think some owners sabotage their own growth?
because I mean, I think some owners sabotage their own growth because control feels safer than trust and the unknown. Um, but control is the very thing that's killing the business.
Is control connected to ego?
I mean, only a tiny bit. Kidding. Yes, it's 100% connected to ego.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to be in control. It's your business. Nobody's
But
going to
you
come in
you
here and tell
can't,
me how to do it.
right. And you can't just outwork your way into profit. You just can't. Like
Right.
it's just a law of business. And a lot of people don't believe that. Going back to the ego, they know everything best than everybody else. They don't want to trust anybody. Um, so I think I mean, that's really what it is they can't get out of their own way.
Very good. So I will end with growth hurts, but staying the same costs even more. And if you're going to grow your company, Jenna and I would both recommend hiring a coach. And I always say it doesn't have to be me.
Yeah.
Call around, ask other people who they've used. Now, I do cringe sometimes when I know small businesses who really can't afford it went with the biggest group coaching in the world, and now they want me to coach along with them. And typically I won't, because we're going to clash.
Mhm.
I'm going to
Yep.
say things that that other group won't probably agree with, because very few of them in the group have ever been there, done it.
Yeah.
And they charge a lot of money to tell you what to do. So
Hmm.
when you hire coaches who are in business, have been in business, you're more than likely to get some really good results.
Absolutely. 100%. Couldn't have said it better myself.
So, Jenna, thanks so much for being on the Greg McAfee Show. And if any of the viewers, listeners would want to get a hold of you, how do they reach you?
I'm on Facebook, obviously, Jenna Harris, but my website is smartops.club. Smartops.club is how
Okay.
you can find me.
And we'll put it up there on the screen for
Yeah.
people to see. So if you
Yeah.
want to get a hold of Jenna, she coaches, and she's solid. She knows how to grow small business. She's doing it herself. So again, Jenna, thanks for being on. Have a great day and have a great week.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah. See ya.
Okay. Hey.
So I hope you've enjoyed this interview with Jenna Harris. She knows what she's doing. If you need a good coach, you can call me or her. Just kidding. You can call her. This is how you get a hold of her, right here. And she's also on social media. You can just look up Jenna Harris and you will find her. But I had a good time with the interview. It was fun. As always, thanks for listening. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a note if you have any questions. And as always, thanks for listening. God bless. Make this day the best day of your life, because we're not promised tomorrow. I'll see you later.